everyone, thanks again for tuning into Sin's Workshop. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Pride and Premeditation by Terza Price. This is the first book in the Jane Austen murder mystery. Alright, let me start by saying I can't read Jane Austen novels. Not for lack of trying. I've tried, they're just not my thing. But I've seen plenty of Jane Austen retellings, or not retellings, movie adaptations, miniseries adaptations. I've seen enough of them, so I know what the stories are about. And let me start by saying I love this book. I love a good retelling. I can't, even if I don't like the original, like Anna Kay, can't stand Anna Karenina, but damn, if I did not love Anna Kay. So looking forward to reading the sequel, Anna Kay Away. Now, this book follows Elizabeth Bennet. She wants to be a barrister for her father's law firm. I think we all know this. Lizzie never wants to follow the traditional norms. She doesn't just want to be married and be a wife. She wants to be in control of her own life. That is true in every single rendition I've ever seen. And then, of course, you have Mr. Darcy, who is the acting solicitor for Bingley, who is being charged for murder. So basically this book it is a murder mystery. It is kind of like Sherlock Holmes. When I think about it, my mom went to law school, so I know a little bit of law. A lot of the evidence she finds is circumstantial at best. Nowadays it would be circumstantial at best, but I guess in that time period it kind of worked. And I'm like, this is a flimsy, circumstantial at best case. A lot of her evidence was not obtained 100% legally. So, yeah, that's where I was at. But I still enjoyed it. I did enjoy the adventure. I did enjoy the trip. I was just speed reading through this because I ultimately couldn't put it down. It was such a good book. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Jane Austen's work, mainly because I can't read it. I'm not really a romance literature type of person. I do respect Jane Austen in the fact that she does write female characters that kind of step out of the norm, which is why I always want to give her stuff a try, but then I'm like, I just can't. I'm more of a Bronte girl. I am more of a Bronte girl. Not that should surprise anyone, but when it comes to Jane Austen's work, I respect her ideas, I just can't read them. And I have to say, I really did enjoy Price's adaptation, the way she worked this mystery together. It was very clever how it unfolded. All the characters at play in this series, and we know who these characters are, so we're just like, what's gonna happen here? And I think that that's very clever, because the author, she's not assuming that you're familiar with Pride and Prejudice. I think that's what's key here. You can read this book, and I don't think you have to have read Jane Austen's work to appreciate it, because again, I have not read Pride and Prejudice. Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, yes. But Pride and Prejudice, no. you don't have to know the story, really, to enjoy this. It's a murder mystery. It's kind of like Lady Sherlock or Sherlock Holmes in the way that it develops and unfolds. And I like that. I like how it developed. I like how it unfolds. I think it is very clever and very well written, and I have to say, she did a really good job with it, with creating the mystery. I know I'm starting to repeat myself, but I literally just finished this book yesterday. And this isn't really a review, is it? It's just me fangirling. So let's actually start reviewing. So first you have your characters, right? Lizzie and Darcy. I like Lizzie. She's very stubborn. She's very strong-willed. She's very intuitive. And I like how she pays attention. It's a puzzle for her. And she's all about trying to solve this puzzle. And I think that that's very admirable for her because she has to solve this puzzle. If she doesn't solve this puzzle, she will not be able to prove to society as a whole that she's as good as any man, or even better. She does need Darcy's help in the end, but Darcy admits to needing her help as well. And I do like how their relationship starts. You know, traditional, offhanded, like, this person, who do they think they are? I do like that. And I also like how we are seeing Darcy presented. He works in his family's law firm. He's Bingley's friend. I think it would, you know what, I'm just now thinking that Bridget Jones's Diary is sort of like a modern day retelling of Pride and Prejudice. Sorry, that was totally random, but that just popped into my head. My apologies. I think I'll try to watch that movie later tonight. But in any case, it was a well done story. Darcy, I do like how his character develops throughout the narrative. I think he does develop in that traditional way of becoming like very prideful, to be like, all right, Miss Bennet, you know what you're doing, take the lead. And I like that. I like how he develops that way. You know, it didn't feel cliche. It didn't feel, if you're familiar with Pride and Prejudice, it's going to feel like the way it should, if that makes sense. If you haven't read Pride and Prejudice, or you haven't watched Pride and Prejudice, any sort of rendition, then you're just gonna understand that he's growing as a character, and he does grow. I like that about Mr. Darcy in every rendition. He does grow as a character because he becomes a very self-assured, very kind of embittered towards the world. You know, things have happened, things he'd rather keep secret. You understand it, but the fact that he eventually starts to open up to Lizzie, it does make him more admirable. And you get to see how at first she's kind of taken in by his intelligence. You know, she does find his face pleasing to look at, but it's his intelligence that really attracts her. And I like how they acknowledge each other's intelligence and how they're willing to work together for the benefit of others near the end. So I do like how their relationship develops. You know, it's not cliche. It doesn't feel cliche. It doesn't feel like, oh, been there, done that. It feels like a natural progression of their characters. And that's why I appreciated it. Because even though this is a retelling, one thing that kind of bothers me about retellings are when they're just so formulaic. They just follow the formula of the original story, and it's just like, okay, whatever. Whatever. We are seeing that formula here, but Price is reinventing it. You can't have a retelling without following the formula of the original. There's just no way around it, really. But I think it's very interesting to see the formula develop, to see the characters really come to life, and to see that relationship and those dynamics strengthen and grow throughout the narrative. This is, at its core, a murder mystery. So seeing this murder mystery unfold is very interesting. There are lots of pieces. Again, circumstantial pieces at best, some of them. But that's just my legal mind working. And darn my mother. I'm gonna give her this book to read. I'm gonna be like, you need to read this. But that's that. I like how it unfolds. I like how Lizzie is investigative. I love how she sees these tiny little details, like a small little button that no one else seems to register. So it's a good story. It is reinventive. It is unique as far as retellings go. This is definitely not something I've seen before, and I'm so looking forward to the rest of the series, because of course there are going to be more books. Book 2 is tentatively titled Sense and Second Degree Murder, Sense and Sensibility. And then you have book 3, tentatively titled Manslaughter Park, Mansfield Park. So I have to say, I'm in love with her titling. I'm in love with her storytelling. I'm in love with her characterization. And I love, above all else, how she reinvents this way of storytelling. I love a good murder mystery. I like solving these crimes. I think a lot of people do, with these characters. Do I want to be an investigative person when I grow up? I say as I turn 30 soon. No. But it is fun to read about. It is fun to see all these pieces just kind of click together to solve this mystery. And you're just like clicking the pieces with their character. And you're like, wait a minute. And then when the character catches on, you're like, atta girl. That's what I loved about this book. That's what I thought was great. Ultimately, oh God, this really was a good story. It really, really was a good story. I think it was intuitive. I thought it was inventive. I thought it was creative. Ultimately, this book blew me away. It kept my interest from beginning to end. The pieces that unfold, it's not predictable. It is very much unpredictable, and that's what I loved about it, how unpredictable it was. Because there were some elements, which characters are bad, but then you have other characters, and then you're like, well, they could go either way. So I like how the story develops. I was very, very happy with how it developed. I was very happy with how I read it. And I definitely highly recommend it, because I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 stars. So on that note, please remember to purchase this book, Pride and Premeditation by Terza Price, from your local bookstore or online book retailer. If money's tight, please check out the book from your local library, which also provides, among physical books, audiobooks and ebooks. And on that note, I hope you all will continue to support me by liking this podcast, subscribing to it, and sharing it with all your book-loving friends. You can also become a supporter on Anchor FM for $1 a month. There's information in the description of this podcast. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.